All right, welcome to City Hall. Tonight's May 19th. Appreciate everyone being here tonight. Before we officially start the meeting, we'll have a prayer led by Councilman Sean Schulte. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you have given to our nation, our state, and our city. Father, the Bible teaches us to lean on you for all understanding, so we invite you into our meeting and ask for your wisdom as we discuss and work through tonight's agenda. We thank you for our city staff, and we ask that you continue to watch over and protect them. Father, may all we do and say bring glory and honor to you. May the city of Jefferson always be a city of righteousness and goodness, a city pleasing to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask the clerk to please read roll, please.
Branch.
Here.
Bray.
Here.
Costales.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Hussey. Mihalovich.
Here.
Prather. Schulte.
Here.
Scribner.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Next on our agenda, we have the adoption of the agenda. At this point in time, we'll call in Bob Scribner.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to amend the agenda and add a 3A, I guess, that would be an address by Mr. Sean Schulte.
All righty. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other changes to tonight's agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. At this point in time, I think we will hand the microphone over to Mr. Sean Schulte.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to read a letter. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, staff, and citizens. Many years ago, my wife and I had expressed an interest to the owner of some property located within the 5th Ward, and recently it unexpectedly came available to us. We have purchased the property and are excited about this opportunity and looking forward to this new chapter in our lives. Unfortunately, we will be moving out of the 2nd Ward, the place we've called home for the past 23 years. Per the city charter, a council person must reside within the ward in which they are elected. Therefore, I have submitted my resignation to the mayor effective May 30th, 2014. After 3 years, I'm still learning and working on being qualified to carry out my responsibilities as a council person. I hope in some small positive way that I've contributed to the overall operation of city government. To the citizens of the 2nd Ward, I am honored and humbled to have served and represented you. Thank you for allowing me to do so. Mayor, fellow councilmen, administrator, department directors, commissioners, and staff, it has been a privilege to work alongside each of you. I have enjoyed almost every step along the way, and I wish each of you nothing but the best. What is my take from this experience? While it is easy to criticize, and I've done my share in the last 3 years, we, the citizens of Jefferson City, have an amazing, devoted staff who do not nearly get enough credit for all they do. So thank you. I have enjoyed this opportunity and look forward to a time when I might be able to serve again. Sincerely, Sean Schulte. Thank you.
Well, Sean, thank you. As many of you might know, we've kind of knew this was coming up possibly for a while. Put a bunch of scarecrows and stuff in front of Sean's current house to try to maybe keep it from selling, but it looks like he has found a buyer. Sean, appreciate all of your hard work. Especially in the last couple of years with the changes you've made as the chair of our finance committee, the changes that you've made in the budget process, I think are changes that you should be very, very proud of. And I know you've helped staff, and staff has helped you along through that. You're a good friend, and we hate to see you go. It's always a tradition, so to speak, that tonight we would normally give Sean a plaque and this, that, and other thing if he was leaving. However, Sean's probably not leaving. He's probably just leaving for until he can probably file again in the 5th Ward. Sean's done an excellent job for our community. So if I have any words at all to describe Sean, it would be to be continued. Mr. Cover, would you like to tell us, as far as from the law department, what our next step is so the public and the press know?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The nominations would be the next step on as far as filling Mr. Schulte's position. That could not happen until more than 2 weeks following his vacancy. Since his vacancy is effective as of May 30th, the next regular council meeting would be June 16th. So we would do nominations on June 16th, and then the council would vote on July 7th, and in between the two, there would be a public hearing or a public session in order to get input. So we would, assuming that it does happen as Mr. Schulte's indicated with the May 30th, then at the June 2nd meeting, we would put forward a formal timeline, including the hearing date, along with those two council dates. And then, like I said, the council would vote on July 7th, and that would fill his remainder of his term.
Jeremy, would the hearing give the community and the council a chance to ask questions of those nominees?
It would. That is the point of the hearing, is so that whoever is nominated by the council, that's essentially the vetting process where anyone can come and ask them questions and know how they would represent them on the council.
Great. Mr. Carlos, do you have a question?
Yes, Jeremy, you said about the nominations being made. Who makes the nominations, and who are they sent to, and how does that process go?
The nominations, each at that point, they're on June 16th. Then there theoretically would be 9 remaining council people, and each one is allowed to make one nomination. So those are actually made at the council meeting. Between that's another reason to put it off a little bit, is to give everyone that time to make sure everyone's aware of the process, and that's what we'll do again on June 2nd, is to put that out there, make sure everyone knows if they want to be if they want to fill that vacancy, how they would go about it. But each council person gets to make one nomination. That's what sets the ballot, so that you'd have a maximum of 9 potential candidates. That'd be set at that meeting, and then you would have those people at the hearing after that, and then the council would go around and name a name that they would like to vote for at the July 7th meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Any other questions of staff tonight, or Sean? All right, Sean, once again, thank you. Appreciate your service, and like I say, I'm sure we'll see you again down the road. There is a particular committee that I'm going to ask Sean to serve on. We've already talked about this. It's not on the agenda tonight, but you will be seeing it in June. Darrell Winiger has served on our Parks Commission, our Parks Board, and he has recently moved outside the city limits, and it's a requirement that he move within the city limits. Sean has been the liaison for parks for how long now, Sean? 3 years. It would be my intention to name Sean to the Parks Board in June. So hopefully that will happen. And once again, Sean, we appreciate all that you've done, and look forward to seeing more of you as time goes on. Next, we don't have this on the agenda, but under miscellaneous agenda items, I do see that we have some scouts that have arrived here. If you'd please come up to the podium. We'd like to know what troop you're from, your name, and what badge you might be working on this evening.
Is it on? Okay. Zachary Barnes, Troop 2, working on communications, merit badge.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
David Siegel, Troop 2, working on communications.
All right.
Keith Siegel, Assistant Scoutmaster for Troop 2, chaperoning these two.
Keeping them out of trouble. All right, gentlemen, if you want to come up here, I got a couple small tokens from the city. There's some of our city coins. You can't use them at school for anything. How's school going, and when are you out of school? 29. And you knew that relatively quickly. When are you out of school? 29? All those snow days are kind of piling up now, huh? All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for your communication skills tonight. You can stay as long as you want. Thanks for what you do in the community. Next, we have a public hearing in association with a pending bill 2014-12. At this point in time, I'll ask the clerk to have third reading, please.
Ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, approving a preliminary community plan amendment to property located at 3550 Country Club Drive, described as part of the south half of Section 4, Township 44 North, Range 12 West of Jefferson City, Cole County, Missouri.
Okay. And next, we'll turn it over to Janice McMillan. Janice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Goodrich Quality Theaters has proposed an amendment to the PUD plan for the theater. They propose an addition consisting of approximately 8,200 square feet. The location of the theater is shown on the map above. The area is zoned PUD, Planned Unit Development, which requires approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission and the City Council. This shows the location of the addition adjacent to the current theater. Planning and Zoning Commission approved this amendment at their meeting in April on a unanimous vote. Standard public notice procedures were followed in advance of the public hearing, and the correspondence received is included in the packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And representatives of the Goodrich Quality Theaters are here this evening as well. Thank you.
Okay, any questions of staff? Seeing none at this point in time, we'll open up the public portion of our hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of Bill 2014-12? If you could step to the microphone, Mr. Goodrich. It just so happens I know his first name because we met earlier. Robert or Bob, welcome to Jefferson City.
Thank you. Well, I've been operating the theater since 1999, and it's taken a bit of time to put together the method of improving the theater. It's been a successful venture for me, but it's an older style theater built by Dick Durwood in the early 90s, and it's a slope floor. If you understand that they're not on tiered platforms, which is the more conventional contemporary theater. And as part of what we want to do to kind of minimize the people that we all know often travel from Jefferson City to Columbia, we're hoping to improve the facility, and part of it is this what we call premium large format. The new theater we're adding is 450 seats. We're stadiumizing the existing 8 theaters, so there actually will be no additional seats in total. The seats, it's about a 25% reduction in each auditorium as you go from slope floor to stadium, and that is how we've come to the size of the existing new theater we're adding. And that is also because it's a large screen. The new theater will have about a 65-foot wide by 30-foot high screen, replicating really almost like an IMAX experience. And we have a theater like this in Saginaw, Michigan. We call it a giant digital experience, GDX. And we think it's going to be a real addition to the center, and obviously a key part of this is the support of Mike and Bud Farmer, sorry, I spoke myself. The Farmer family has been very supportive of what we're doing, and that's really the impetus of getting this done. Their support and help. I own the building, they own the land underneath, and we're continuing that relationship with the addition. And I'll be very happy to answer any questions about the why and how.
Any questions for Mr. Goodrich? Bob, once again, thank you for being here.
I'm glad to be here, and thank you for your support.
Anyone else in support of 2014-12? Seeing none, anyone against 2014-12? All right, that will conclude the public hearing on 2014-12. Any discussion from council members? Any debate? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Branch.
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Costello.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Goodrich, thank you for taking the time to come to our capital city. We hope to see you at the groundbreaking when that happens. You and your staff can leave at any time. And Ms. Harness, thank you for your help with this project.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have underneath number 6, appointments by the mayor to city boards and commissions. This point in time, we'll entertain a motion to accept.
So move.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Branch,
Aye.
Bray,
Aye.
Costello,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll move on to, I'm sorry, I missed under miscellaneous agenda items. No, I'm sorry. I got Carlos still coming up yet. Next, we have presentations from staff, consultants, and invited guests. And first, we have Mr. Lockwood from our Parks Department. Bill, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Tonight, we're continuing to recognize some of the great partners we have to work with here in Jefferson City, who are kind of out there laboring behind the scenes as volunteers, helping to make our park system and our city more attractive to both residents and visitors alike. And this evening, we want to recognize the Jefferson City Disc Golf Club.
For the past 7 years, the Jefferson City Disc Golf Club has hosted a charity disc tournament on the Saturday before Super Bowl Sunday called the Ice Bowl. The Ice Bowl is for all disc golfers gutsy, crazy, desperate, or fun-loving enough to join together in an act of solidarity around the world. Regardless of weather conditions, the ideas behind the Ice Bowl is to have fun, raise funds, and collect food for the local food bank, and otherwise dispel the gloom of winter. Last year, the Jefferson City Disc Golf Club collected $3,355 and 444 pounds of non-perishable food for the Jefferson City Samaritan Center. The amount of money raised allowed the Jefferson City Disc Golf Club to be in the top 20 of 242 ice bowls held around the world, beating out such cities as Omaha, Nebraska, San Diego, California, Baltimore, Maryland, Norman, Oklahoma, and Des Moines, Iowa. Since January 2008, Jefferson City Disc Golf Club has raised $16,603 and 1,387 pounds of food to this event. Not only has the Jefferson City Disc Golf Club raised money for the Samaritan Center, they have raised money and provided all volunteer labor to construct and maintain the 18-hole Joseph C. Miller Disc Golf Course at Binder Park. They are currently working with Jefferson City Parks and Recreation staff to construct an additional 18-hole disc golf course at Binder Park with the hope of attracting statewide and national disc golf tournaments. The relationship between the Jefferson City Parks and Recreation Department and the Jefferson City Disc Golf Club proves that a solid partnership can benefit not only park users, but those who are less fortunate within the community.
Again, this group was recognized at our state conference a while back, and I'd like to introduce to you Stan Balke, the club president, and Rod Bauman, and would again like to represent to them the recognition they received, and we're very proud that we're able to work with them, and the good things they do in Jefferson City enable us to get things accomplished we wouldn't otherwise be able to do.
Thank you. With the help of Parks and Rec, with this year's Ice Bowl we're up to a little over $19,000 we've given to the Samaritan Center now. So hopefully we'll keep on going. We're always striving to get a little bit more every year. So thank you, the City Council, for helping being behind Parks and Rec for the disc golf course we do have and the new one we're putting up. Hopefully we will get a major event in here someday, and that draws, 500 to 1,000 people for a tournament on a weekend. So we're hoping we'll be able to get that someday and bring in some tourism to Jefferson City through disc golf. whether you've heard of it or not, it's there.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. Bill, thank you very much for everything that your department does. And Stan and Rod, thank you, and please pass on the best to your rest of your club members. Next, we have our monthly finance report with Mr. Bill Betts. Bill, good evening.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor and Council. Just wanted to give a quick update on the finances for the city. As many of the council members know, and maybe the community as well, but our sales tax report for the month of April came in very good, and it brought our yearly total to $201,000 over projections for the year. So overall on revenues, we're doing fairly well on on almost every line item. You'll also notice on the franchise and utility tax line item, which is where our electric and natural gas is taken from, we're $300,000 ahead of projections for the year as well. So it brings our overall total to $540,000 ahead of projections on revenue. So I think the city's doing very well as far as revenue projections. On the expense side of things, most departments are all within their budget, taking care of everything. The one item you'll see tonight is there is a supplemental appropriation for chemicals and some overtime due to the harsh winter that we had, which has also contributed a little bit to our electric and natural gas use. Having such a cold, harsh winter, it obviously helped our utility receipts there. So overall, as far as the finances are concerned for the city, though, I feel like we're in pretty good shape right now. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Bill? Bob.
Bill, on the, you already alluded to the harsher winter. Is there anything else that would indicate a trend why the utility taxes might be up? That's relatively substantial. I don't know what that is as a percentage of the total.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Bob, I think on the utility tax there, the harsh winter is part of it, plus Ameren had a rate increase last year, so obviously when they get more rates, there's a higher, our gross receipts utility tax will go up from that. So I think those two things combined have helped that area of the budget as well. So,
thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for?
Can I point out one more thing, Mr. Mayor? Sorry about that. Just wanted to let everybody know as well, we've began to put all of these reports on the city's website. There's a new spot on there called Financial Reports. And so we list everything, the revenue models there, and we update it every month as soon as the Finance Committee meeting happens. So we have all of the reports that are out there, whether it's the lodging tax, the fund balance report. So anybody can get to it at any time by going to jeffcitymo.org. And there on the home page, there's an icon to go to Financial Reports. And we're also listing the archived reports as well are here. So we have a new document management system, and as part of that document management system, we began to keep all of the different reports for the past. So I think there's 3 months worth of history reports in here, and we'll keep them going forward as well in here, so folks can get to previous reports as well. So.
All right, Bill, thank you for your time today.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. Good report, and especially like what you're doing there on the website to let people know what's going on. Thank you. Next, we have some more invited guests. Randy Allen is here with the Jefferson City Area Chamber of Commerce.
Mr. Mayor, can I beg your indulgence? Commissioner Jefferson is on his way. He got detained.
Oh, okay.
If you would let Brenda Hatfield go first, that would be
We can do that if Brenda's ready.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Hatfield, I understand that you are involved with our citywide PTO and are here to tell us more about that this evening. Welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Brenda Hatfield. I am with the Citywide Parent-Teacher Organization, which represents the Jefferson City Public Schools, PTAs and PTOs. We have 15 organizations, everybody from Southwest Early Childhood Center, which is a personal favorite of mine, to all of our elementary schools. We also represent our middle schools, as well as Simonson and the high school. And we get together once a month, we share information, ideas, and try to do everything we can to help the schools better serve their community and their families, as well as the students. Mr. Casales contacted me, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? And asked if there was a way that our members might be interested in hearing from someone from the City Council so that they could understand how they might be able to contribute to their government, because obviously the PTO members and PTA members are obviously contributing to their schools. Maybe let's try to branch out and see if they have any concerns with their city and things that they could do to serve. He came to our meeting, our monthly meeting, and the first question that came up was, well, what about the rest of us? Not all of us live in the 4th Ward. because Mr. Graham and Mr. Costellas had offered to come. And so we immediately said, well, let's come to the city council meeting. Thank you for the invitation. And extend that invitation to all of you. If you are interested or able and would like to participate in some sort of PTO activity, we have everything from open houses that you might be able to be represented at to individual monthly meetings as well as family events. So if you are interested, I would be happy to let you know what events would be appropriate for you or where you might fit in best. I will tell you, I had a little struggle reconciling the district map with your map, but I think together we can figure that out and figure out what schools that you contribute to. The good news is all of you contribute to Simonson in the high school. So that one is easy for me, and most of you probably contribute to Southwest Early Childhood as well. It's those elementaries where we're going to get a little confused, but I'm committed to working with you, so if you are interested, please let me know. You know how to find me. I'm also in the phone book. So whatever you need, we're here to serve you. Thank you very much for the time.
Brenda, thank you very much. Any other questions tonight for Brenda? All right, appreciate it. Thanks a lot for coming. Next on our agenda, we have Miss Janice McMillan to talk to us about Heritage Week. Janice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. in the council chamber, we'll celebrate Heritage Week. The mayor will be present to help award the landmark designation winners. Also to be presented tomorrow afternoon are recipients of the Greg Stockard Award, and there are two recipients, Michelle Brooks and Nicholas Monaco. And in addition to that, there are winners of the Students Essay, Multimedia, and Heritage Art contests. So we'll have a full house tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. I'd like to invite anyone who's interested to please join us. 4 p.m. in the council chamber. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would like to remind the community that on June the 14th at 10:30 a.m. At Capitol West Event Center, located on Fairgrounds Road, there will be a 4th Ward Town Hall meeting. So I'm asking the public to come out. I know that myself and Councilman Constalas, as well as our new city administrator, Mr. Steve Croswell, will be there to answer any questions, any ideas, concerns that you would like to bring to the town hall meeting. Please do at that time. So once again, that's June the 14th at 10:30 a.m. at the Capitol West Event Center on Fairgrounds Road. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Carlos, thank you very much for what you guys are doing in the 4th Ward. That's a great idea. No one signed up underneath number 9. At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion to accept our consent agenda as printed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And at this magical point in time, we now have invited guests, Mr. Chris Shepperly, our Western District Commissioner from the County of Cole, Mr. Russ Vollmert, and Randy Allen with the Jefferson City Area Chamber of Commerce. They're here to talk to us in regards to the Lafayette Interchange Enhancement Project. Gentlemen, welcome. Chris, I know you're running a little bit
Morning.
late.
Sorry.
Catch your breath and
running a little late.
Welcome. I'm sure
Thank
you're
you,
busy
Mayor.
this time of year with your business anyway.
A little bit, yeah.
All right.
Kids too. So anyway, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. So we're here tonight to basically ask for your help in a project that we believe will not only help Jefferson City, but all of Cole County. And there'll be a great partnership between County of Cole, MoDOT, and hopefully Jefferson City. This will be a great project, and I don't want to take up a whole lot of time, but basically we would like your support and you guys to contribute to this project. And anyway, without that being said, I'll turn it over to Russ, and he'll go through his presentation, and if you have any questions, we'll answer those.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Well, good evening. My name is Russ Vollmert. I'm with Arcturus. We're an architecture planning firm based in St. Louis, and I direct our planning department. So we were commissioned by the county earlier this year, actually back in January, to look at how the proposed Lafayette Street interchange project, which I'm sure most of you know was part of MoDOT's overall transportation plan to make improvements there at Lafayette Street, Jackson Street, and Chestnut Street for better access and circulation throughout Jeff City and obviously on the eastern end of Highway 50. We were hired, as I said, by Cole County to look at how could we make this interchange kind of a better reflection of Jefferson City from an aesthetic standpoint, but also from a broader context of how could it also help spur some economic development and private investment based on this public dollar investment that MoDOT is undertaking. So we have a brief little presentation that we can go through that really kind of explains the intent of the project, kind of the design process that we went through, and then also our proposed solution. And then as Mr. Shepley had stated, hoping that we could solicit some support from the city as well as it moves towards final design and construction. So, oops. Let me see.
Russ, if I could, we had a pre-meeting before this, and I think what the council's wanting to see tonight is kind of an overview of the project, and then more than likely this would go to our Public Works Commission possibly this Thursday.
Okay.
And then come back to this body again
Okay.
at our first meeting in June. So
Sure. Wonderful.
just so you kind of know the lay of the land, so to speak.
Okay, I appreciate that. Well, first off, and we've done a number of these projects, we'll show these next upcoming slides around the state and around the Midwest, but it's more than just making things look pretty. It's about taking advantage of this opportunity that lies before you with MoDOT's investment into their infrastructure there at Highway 50 in Lafayette. Can it be a gateway? Can it be a new opportunity for downtown, for Lincoln University, for the high school, and for the MSP site? We think it can be. To attract those visitors to stop and shop into downtown and other parts of Jeff City. Again, taking advantage of this public infrastructure investment that the state of Missouri is placing in this area. And then also help to enhance the civic identity of Jeff City. Being a native of Jeff City, grew up here, moved away a number of years ago, live in St. Louis, but still have a lot of family here, so I'm very familiar with Jefferson City and its kind of its history. I'm getting ahead of me here. The other thing about these projects, generally referred to as transportation enhancement projects, again, they're more than just making things look good. They are about economic development. If you think about it, as you travel on a highway, be it you're going to St. Louis, Kansas City, Branson, perhaps you're going to Chicago, you have a choice as a traveler on that roadway. And you have a choice of where you're going to stop, right? And where you're going to fill up your tank of gas, where you're going to buy a dinner, perhaps where you're going to spend a night in a hotel. You have a choice on those highways. Generally, you have interchanges and intersections every few miles, right? You're going to stop where that interchange is attractive, where it's clean, where it's well lit, where it's safe. If it's not, you're going to move on down the road, right, to a place that is clean, attractive, safe, and that's where you're going to invest your time and money. And so that's why these projects like this, these transportation enhancement projects, they are more than just making things look pretty or gussying up the interchange. So yes, it is about aesthetics. We refer to it as kind of a curb appeal on a citywide scale, on a civic scale. And so again, this really reflects the community, and we think Jeff City has a wonderful opportunity here to take advantage of MoDOT's opportunity into this area. So real quickly, some precedents. These are both sides of the state. There you see on the left side of the screen, Bruce R. Watkins Expressway in Kansas City. It was really one of the first transportation enhancement projects in the state of Missouri in more recent times. Anyway, this is Highway 71 as it comes up through South Kansas City into downtown. A number of the interchanges, the overpass structures all received a certain level of architectural treatment. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, you see some examples in the St. Louis area On top there is Olive Boulevard and interchange at Creek Core, so Olive and 270. Very handsome structure. Boone's Crossing down the valley in Chesterfield. That was actually done by a lot of investment by a local developer. And then I-70 North through North City, again, a MoDOT project that we worked on that actually enhanced 15 existing bridges with a certain level of architectural treatment. And then you see the one in the middle, and this is actually an example from here in Jeff City. I don't know the official name of it, but I think it was the former Missouri River Bridge there that is currently a park right behind the Archives building. I don't remember the exact street it was on, but Oliver. So, and there you see just that the abutment structures that were left in place there from that bridge, which I believe was constructed in the 1920s, has a real nice kind of Art Deco aesthetic to it. We actually kind of picked up on that as part of our design process. So again, not your typical MoDOT look with any of these examples that you see there. And again, but they're a nice reflection of your community. And again, it's that kind of that icon that you want to reflect to folks, for visitors coming to and through, but also for your local citizens as well. So a little bit on the design process. With any good design project that you get into, you look at the existing conditions, and here you see this aerial. If I could work the mouse here. Using my cursor. Not cooperating. Well, the large circle in the middle there, that is the Lafayette Street interchange with Highway 50, and then the two smaller circles kind of to the left or to the west, that's Jackson Street, and then to the right or a little bit to the lower right there, that is Chestnut Street. And that's the broader MoDOT project that they are working on. The county approached MoDOT, and MoDOT's been very cooperative, I might say, in working with us to see how we can enhance the interchange, being very cooperative, actually doing some cost sharing, and helping us to work with their engineers on the project. So, but real quickly, you can see with this new interchange, as you might know, Lafayette Street that currently goes under Highway 50 will now be a full-service interchange with on and off ramps for both eastbound and westbound, obviously to help with traffic into downtown on a daily workday basis, but also we think it will be a broader access, greater access up Lafayette to the MSP site, to downtown, to the new courthouse, all of which bring in visitors into downtown in Jeff City, or to the south to Lincoln University and then Jeff City High School. We know there's some, I guess, potential there for the future that what might happen on their site, but again, major destinations both north and south at this interchange. Just real quickly, you're familiar with these, just views from Highway 50 on top, the view from westbound 50 looking towards Chestnut, and then on the bottom, westbound 50 towards Jackson Street. So as we got into the design process, looking at some various options of what perhaps the interchange might look like, we really zeroed in on Jackson Street and Chestnut Street as really kind of the two ends of the broader project. One from a kind of a view shed perspective. Also, again, that's where these on and off ramps kind of more or less meet Highway 50 is just inside these two overpass structures. So there you see on the left some different design options. The lower right, kind of that's a view from Lafayette Street looking south towards the overpass of Highway 50. And then just some of the local structures here in town. Obviously, Jeff City has a wonderful kind of institutional architectural heritage, be it the post office, the Capitol, the Supreme Court building, a number of wonderful iconic structures here in town. And so we kind of picked up on those. And then again, you can see the former bridge abutment structure there in the upper right-hand corner. A little bit closer up view of your existing conditions. So this is Jackson Street looking to the west. I might add with the MoDOT project, they are obviously going to be widening the highway here, the cross-section through this area, predominantly going to the north. So that south edge of the highway won't change a whole lot. You have the large rock cut, And then up top, you have the president of Lincoln University's home as well. So most of the expansion will occur towards the north. And you can see currently you have non-conforming widths of shoulders. On the north side, you have some rock cut that's frankly not maintained very well, not very attractive, not the best reflection of Jefferson City and the community. So this illustration kind of shows our proposed solution for Jackson Street. A couple things I might call out. Working with the MoDOT engineers and MoDOT, obviously, we looked at their typical kind of overpass structure assembly, if you will, where we have an MSC wall and then the overpass deck structure. And in this case, we'd be looking at, instead of their typical railing, ornamental rail fence, which would be a galvanized powder-coated steel right off the shelf, and then with some ornamental lighting. You see the pylon structures at each end, again, kind of a reflection of the previous bridge structure, the former Missouri River Bridge structure. You see the use of kind of a red brick masonry, which reflects a very strong architectural heritage here in Jeff City and obviously throughout Missouri and the Midwest. Again, that wouldn't be a true brick veneer, but we're looking that it would be a cast-in-place concrete with a form, liner, and color. So, the rock cut was a major issue in dealing with that, as far as how do we address that and how it's paid for. What we did not want was a proposed solution, I guess, that MoDOT did a few years back on Highway 50 West out towards 179 with some shotcrete on the wall and some rock nails, and not the most attractive look. There on the west end of town. I believe it's 179 and 50, part of that interchange. And to their credit, they worked with us, and the idea is then, instead of that, what you see up above, kind of that retaining wall, would be more of a sculpted shotcrete, sculpted rockcrete, if you will, that's made to look more like a natural rock. The issue there is obviously the eroding rock cut that is crumbling and spilling down to the roadway. So the proposed solution is to come up with kind of a more defined retaining walls right there at the roadway edge. Again, kind of an MSC assembly with some again, some red brick accent color, and then the sculpted rockcrete behind it. So I might go back to the pylons again. We're trying to make use of the materials, keeping in mind that most folks viewing these structures are going by at anywhere from 50 to 70 miles an hour. So we're trying to take advantage of very sturdy materials, ones that are very hard, very low in maintenance, and then of course things such as texture and shade and shadow. Like I always tell our designers, shadow is free, and so if it does have a number of recesses and relief to help give it some depth to the structure. And then on top of each of those pylons, we have you see kind of the black metal structure. That's actually a light that would be programmable, and the idea was that during certain times of the year, be it the holidays or be it 4th of July, or perhaps it's Lincoln University's homecoming, or perhaps it's Jeff City High's homecoming, you could program that to different colors, all kinds of different colors that you would want to do. So, and then real quickly, these are just elevations and cross sections of the three different structures. This is the Jackson Street Bridge, as you would be looking at it, the view to the east. This is the north end. This is the south end. Again, the president's house up top here. You can see, I believe it's about a 13% grade on that structure. On the Jackson Street Bridge, we would propose there would be a kind of a civic identity sign that would proclaim Jeff City as the capital city, or welcome to Jeff City, or something of that nature. So, and then again, you can see the ornamental rail fence and then ornamental lighting up top, and then the MSC wall. Down below there, again, you see kind of an illustration of what the potential retaining walls would look like again, with a cast in place and then with some color, accent color throughout. Chestnut Street, again, this is the view to the east. Again, a little bit our normal look as far as that overpass structure and the deck. Again, so very similar. So each of these Chestnut, Jackson Street really kind of serve as the ends of the overall gateway and the interchange. And then you see Lafayette Street at the bottom there, and that's with again a very long expanse, and then you would have a little over 300 feet. But in this case, because of some of the cost issues and because of some of the overall construction issues, at this point we're just proposing ornamental rail fence on Lafayette itself. So all what you've seen to date, we would propose being the base bid, being MoDOT's base bid for the project. So, and again, with the county's contribution, we believe that all that is very feasible and can be accomplished within the bidding process. So, these next few slides do show potential what could go on with Lafayette as alternates to the project. If you're familiar with the kind of the design bid process, so alternate A, should that be picked up, we would add railing lights to Lafayette up top here. Alternate B, we would add a pylon similar to what you had on Jackson Chestnut on the east end of Lafayette. And then alternate C, we would add landscaping there at that east end of the abutment of Lafayette. And again, if all those alternates are picked up, that would be the intent of the process. And then I think our last slide, again, just a summary of, we think it's a great opportunity for not only the county but Jefferson City as well to take advantage of MoDOT's public dollar investment in Jeff City, the east end of Jeff City and downtown Jeff City. It's a great opportunity to showcase Jeff City as a leading cultural center, business center for the state. Obviously it is. You have a number of visitors that come to Jeff City every day, be it from St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, Branson, Cape Girardeau, and you want their experience here in Jeff City to be a positive one. You want your community to reflect your quality of life that you have here in Jeff City, and that is one of the intents of the project. And again, we really think that with this public dollar investment, it will help to spur some of that new investment, especially on Lafayette Street as you proceed in the downtown or south towards Lincoln University. So again, this is kind of a summary of what we've been doing over the past 4 months with the county. We've been very fortunate to work with MoDOT. They've been very cooperative, allowing us to work with their engineers to come up with some of these design solutions. They've expressed that they can do some cost sharing as well, and it's been a very, very good experience working both with the county and with MoDOT. So I think before we open up to questions, I think Randy might say a few words. So.
Mr. Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Just before I just a few comments in addition to what Commissioner Shepperly and Russ Volmert said is I want to introduce Bill Plank is here with us tonight, and Bill is on our chamber board, our executive committee, and also he is the focus leader for one of our 4 focus areas, and I'll remind you what those are: membership, talent, growth, and place. And Bill is the focus leader for the place, which obviously this would fall under. So let me just add the Chamber's support to what's already been said this evening. As you know, about 10 years ago, we started talking about the Lafayette Street interchange with MSP and all the other things that were going on. It got pretty hot and heavy during the transformation process, and in fact, we kept pushing Lafayette and finally got the funding from MoDOT to do it. So the idea to enhance this sort of came from that. This is our one last opportunity to really create a gateway into our community. So Chamber's in full support of this project, and we think that the council should consider participating in this from a funding standpoint.
Any other questions tonight for our guest? Carlos?
This would be for anyone to answer. We talked about cost sharing. What's the price tag on this venture here?
Well, with the enhancements price tag, so the part that the county is contributing towards, the base bid is just under 1.5 million, about 1.3. The county has allocated 1.5 million towards the project. If you were to add on all the alternates, and kind of the way the MoDOT does it, as we would also kind of structure the bid A, B, and C, it would go up to about 1.55, 1.7, and then 1.8 if you were to pick up all three of those alternates with the base bid. Now, keep in mind, again, this is just the enhancement part. There's the broader MoDOT part of their larger project that they're doing as well. So.
And another thing, too, for our newer council members and our city administrator, originally the city had jumped into MSP and decided to help the state, partner with the state on mold, and at the time it was easier for the county to put their money, quote unquote, in a MoDOT type of project as opposed to state-owned buildings. So they decided to go down this route. So to answer Carlos's question again, above and beyond the state current buy-in, roughly what would all of those additions add to if they were all approved?
Well, if the base bid and then alternates A, B, and C, we'll get up to about 1.8. Now, MoDOT
so
has
about $300,000 for A, B, and C?
Approximately, yeah.
Give or take, yeah. Is that right, Randy?
A little more, yeah.
So the council has something to kind of think about.
Now MoDOT has stated that should there be any savings in the bidding process, they would allocate some of those savings towards the enhancement end of the project. So, so then we're hoping with favorable bids, we could pick up some of those alternates, and get them implemented. So,
okay. I think this is going to come back up again possibly at the Public Works Committee meeting Thursday. Any other questions of our guests this evening? Bob.
I'm sorry. You say the county has committed $1.5 million at this point. Is that right? And it would take an additional 3 to do all 3 of the alternatives that you indicated.
Well, again, but we again, the way we would structure the bid is that that 1.5 million would cover the base bid. Correct. So everything you saw for Jackson and Chestnut.
And the base includes all of that retaining wall and the Jackson Street Bridge, and all of that is part of the base.
Correct. Yes, sir. And so for Jackson and Chestnut, and then the railings on Lafayette. So the alternates then would be the railing lights on Lafayette, and then should you have enough money, favorable bids, you would pick that up. If you have still more favorable bids, you would pick up B, which would be the pylons there. There'd be 2 pylons at the east end of Lafayette. Should bids come in even favorably more, then you would be able to pick up alternate C, which is the landscaping at the east end of Lafayette. So.
But it's my understanding that the city's being asked to contribute, and we'll just, for the sake of argument, we'll say you're asking us to contribute $300,000. That would not require it to be a favorable bid, correct? That would fund all 3 alternates if the city committed $300,000?
I'll have Chris address that, as I don't know all the negotiations between the county and the city.
No, I'm not trying to negotiate. I'm trying to arrive at a number so we know what to talk about Thursday.
Yeah. I mean, to go from the base bid, it's like 1.3, say with 350, and then up to, if you pick up all the way up to alternate C, you're at $1,800,000. So
if the county's committed $1.5 million, $1.8 million means we would need to commit another 3.
Is that the way you're hearing this, Chris?
There could be a lot of so there's some in-kind things that MoDOT may throw into this thing, and MoDOT's willing to put some money in depending on how the bid process comes in.
Correct.
So originally, like the mayor said, we were in for $1 million, and we engaged Arcturus to to do some design and give us some cost points. You know, what can we get for $1 million? What can we get for $1.5 million? What can we get for $2 million? And he's done a good job of giving us some options there. And so originally we were in for $1 million, and you know, we wanted to try to gather as much support as we could and try to get MoDOT to come to the table. And so the commission is unanimous in moving this forward and pushing our $1 million to $1.5 million. And we'd like you guys to bring as much as you can, you know, if any, because I think it helps all of us. I mean, it's just a great project for the whole community. So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, I know, Chris, some of our conversation has been in regard to what we think our remediation costs are finally going to end up, and some of us saw that as maybe being a source of funding because that remediation might possibly come in at less. But I think at this point we don't know what that is. We don't know what it's going to end up being.
Right. Well, and we kind of understood that, and MoDOT needed a commitment from us Friday.
Sure.
And so, you know, and then they want the money in the bank as well. So anyway, so we had to make a commitment, and so we felt like this was a good project to move Jefferson City forward. And so all three of us decided that we wanted to do $1.5 million, and so that's where we stand today.
I know initially, our initial conversation, the county was looking for the city to contribute $500,000, with this county contributing $1 million, which would have gotten the 1.5. Are you still? Is that still your thinking?
Ideally, we'd like to see you guys, you know, put in $500,000, and if you can. I don't know, you know, where your funds are at, and so that'll be something that you guys have to decide. So this $300,000, that could be something where if the bids come in less than what MoDOT has allocated, they will allow us to do all those alternates, and that'll be kind of MoDOT's contribution. And so, you know, to say if you do $300,000, yeah, we could get all the alternates for sure, but until the bids come in, we really don't know where.
That's a pretty good base number. I mean, as this
yeah.
goes towards our committee,
yes,
300 is a pretty good base number then.
Of course,
right?
We always like more.
Sure. Of course.
Well, thanks to both, all three of you for coming in.
Thanks, guys, for being here tonight. Any other questions of our invited guests? Randy, appreciate it. Russ, I know you came a long way, and Mr. Chris, I know you're always busy, so thank you again for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
Are we
Mr.
still
Brown.
in questions, or are we closing this?
We were closing, but go ahead.
The alternates. Alternate A, the primary feature of alternate A is what, lighting?
It's putting ornamental lighting on Lafayette, the railings of Lafayette Street. Yes, sir.
Okay. The alternate B, what's the primary feature?
It would be putting the basically the large kind of the towers, the brick pylon towers at the east end of the Lafayette interchange. There'd be two of them either side of the roadway.
Why the east end? Or the west? Why not both? Or
a really good question. It kind of came down during the design process, primarily as a matter of cost. And the thought is that you're going to have a lot of folks exiting their coming westbound as they would say they go into either Lincoln University or downtown.
Okay.
And so that was thought to be the more highly trafficked part of the interchange.
All right. And the alternate C was landscaping, but on the east end.
Correct.
And is it on the east end for the same reasoning as?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I see. Were there always three alternates, or were there multiple alternates and they've been narrowed down to three? These three? A, B, C?
We looked at a number of different scenarios over the past couple months, yes, sir. And then a lot of it kind of came down to kind of construction, working with MoDOT engineers, and then cost. So again, trying to keep it feasible, just knowing where the budget would be, knowing that our maximum budget is $1.5 million. So, and then again, hopefully with a favorable bidding environment later this summer, should MoDOT's overall bids come in lower, then we could potentially pick up either 1, 2, or 3 of those alternates. But to answer your question, yeah, one time we had much more extensive alternates there at Lafayette and throughout the entire project. So,
And at this point in the project, these are the 3 that have risen to the top.
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Rick Mihalovich, did you have a question, sir? You're good. Bob, go ahead.
Since we're going to be discussing this Thursday, I want to make sure that we're starting at the right point. It sounds to me as though maybe you are proposing that our discussion should be how much of the 1.5 we're going to help the county with, as opposed to the alternatives. It sounds as though you're proposing that the alternatives are only going to happen if MoDOT's bid comes in lower and MoDOT funds those alternatives. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, I mean, again, not really being part of the negotiations or from the city and the county thus far. It was my understanding that the city would be looking, or the county would be looking for the city to contribute that $500,000 to get back to the county's contribution to be $1 million. That's how I understand it. But again, I'm not part of the negotiation team, I guess, on that. So,
Chris, you don't have to come back to the mic unless you want to. You just shake your head.
Well, like I said, originally we were at $1 million, looking for partners, MoDOT and the city, and so yeah, I think we'd like to see you guys do the $500,000 to get us to $1.5 million, and then hopefully MoDOT with their in-kind would pick up the other alternates. But,
okay, all right. At least that gives us an understanding and a starting point. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Any other questions?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I
Mr.
do
Graham.
have another question, just to make sure that I am on the same page and the community's on the same page as well. This is coming out of capital improvements, correct?
I would call on Mr. Betts.
And what is
I'm
the
getting
balance
the thumbs up.
available in that funds? So as we're discussing this on Thursday, we will have some type of direction in which way we're going. So you could answer those 2 questions for me, Mr. Betts.
In my mind, to answer your first question, yes, it would come from capital improvement sales tax. To answer your second question is probably more of a discussion type topic that the council would need to have. I mean, as far as the balance, there's different funds of money. It depends on where we want to take it. There's nothing set aside specifically for the Lafayette interchange. So if you want to include it as part of the MSP redevelopment, if you want to consider it as part of, we have some contingency money left over in sales tax E. You could take it from there. So there's a couple different options there, but I think it's a discussion that council would have to make a decision on there. So, and I'd be happy on Thursday to bring some of those numbers and share those so the council would have the full picture.
Might be better to have
Yeah,
to have a resolution that actually shows where it's coming from the beginning. That way,
Yep.
everyone's on the same page. But
I'll come Thursday.
I think part of tonight's process was to get kind of out on the table so we can obviously talk about it and go from there. Any other questions of our guest this evening? Once again, thank you for traveling. Chris, thank you for the partnership that we have with the county. Randy, thanks for all of your hard work, especially here lately at the Capitol. And Bob, have to give you an attaboy too. Thanks for all your help, especially with that Highway Commission last week. You kind of hit the nail on the head. Okay, next we'll move into the next portion of our meeting, and this is where bills are first introduced. At this point in time, so we did do the consent agenda, correct? Okay. At this point in time, we'll entertain, we'll actually have first reading, 2014-14.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Stockman Construction Corporation for the Water Street at Loman's Landing project.
Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As clerk indicated, this is a construction contract with Stockman Construction. It's for the Water Street project. It's basically rebuilding the brick pavered street near the Amtrak station. Be a small parking lot to the east end of that reconstructed as well. It's a grant project. The city's contributing 20% on this. It's a grant administered through MoDOT. The overall contract's $386,211. the city's match comes from the capital improvement sales tax, and basically the goal of it was originally to kind of beautify the area there through enhancement funds through MoDOT, and Stockman was the low bid, and we recommend approval.
All right. Any questions of Matt on 2014-14? Seeing none, we'll have first reading of 2014-15, please.
An ordinance amending Section 19401, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule A, Speed Limits, Subparagraph D, Schedule G, Stop Intersections, Subparagraph B, and Schedule H, Yield Signs, Subparagraph A of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, pertaining to various roadways.
Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As clerk indicated, this is stop signs in northern Jefferson City, or excuse me, more than stop signs, traffic signs, and stop signs, yield signs, some speed limits. Basically, during a review, the staff found that most of those signs weren't codified in our code, and so this basically does that. The issue was discussed at our Transportation and Traffic Commission, gave people an opportunity to comment on it, and they recommend approval to the council.
Any questions of Matt on 2014-15? Seeing none, we'll have first reading of 2014-16.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the reconstruction of a portion of Lafayette Street.
Okay, this was brought up at our pre-meeting that we may want to suspend the rules tonight on this, and our attorney has given me the high sign unless more than two. Is it two or more?
Unless two or more.
Unless two or more would object to that, we could suspend the rules now. Is anyone in objection of suspending the rules on 2014-16? Seeing none, the rules will be suspended. Thank you, Mr. Scrivener, for your help getting that done. We'll now have first reading of 2014-16. Oh, you already did that, right?
Third reading.
Oh, now third reading.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the reconstruction of a portion of Lafayette Street.
Matt.
Thank you. As clerk indicated, one reason we did ask for suspension of the rules, it was similar to what Mr. Shepperly just indicated, that MoDOT came at kind of at a late date and needed some approvals getting the statewide transportation improvement program, and so that's the primary reason to suspend the rules on this. But basically, during the construction of the process of designing the Lafayette interchange, it was anticipated that they may go past Miller Street, which is on the towards the bottom of the screen in their construction of the interchange. So, as the city did the Lafayette Street improvement that started near the federal courthouse and worked its way down past McCarty Street, we stopped quite a bit short there. As you can see on the screen, it's the area outside of the blue. In anticipation they may move a little further with their interchange projects. It ended up that they didn't need to do that, and so there'd be this small section of street that has not been reconstructed. MoDOT was agreeable to include that in their bid, although the city would have to sign an agreement saying they would pay for it. Now, that being said, we would consider this part of the MSP funding category, similar to probably what we just talked about. There's no official agreement on it yet with the county, but there's several things we need to update that agreement. I've contacted Larry Benz about it at the county and Eric Landwehr, and they're in agreement. They consider it part of the MSP improvements as well in the Lafayette interchange. Staff, Drew and I have talked with their attorneys, and we need to get that agreement updated, because as we do projects and we have several little design contracts going, kind of true up our cost shares, if you will. So that kind of dovetails into that previous discussion. But this portion would be basically just an agreement with MoDOT that we would guarantee the money so they could put this in their transportation plan of their project.
Any questions of Matt? Any council debate? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Bray.
Aye.
Costales.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have first reading of 2014-17.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the 2013-2014 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by appropriating additional funds within the general fund.
Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is something we've been talking with our Public Works Committee about since this last winter. As you well know, we had a harsh winter and took quite a toll on our salt storage and our overtime for our divisions working that. We found ourselves in the position that we went back to the committee, talked to them about what it would take to get our salt base filled back up with our new bid that's coming out here shortly, and wanted to inquire whether we should go with a supplemental appropriation or work it out through the budget process. And it came out the recommendation was go ahead and do a supplemental now so we could go ahead and bid the chemicals and refill those by early fall. So this supplemental would do those things. $150,000 of it would be for the chemical replenishment, and the other $50,000 is overtime. We've far exceeded our overtime budget already, and of course now we're starting our summer season, which just through construction or other things that go on, we would need some additional money in our overtime budget. So that's what the $200,000 would do.
Any questions for Matt on 2014-17? All righty, moving on, we'll have first. Oh, who had a question? Sorry, Rick, missed you. Excuse me? Are you sure? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
What is the transfer from our fund balance? What would that leave our fund balance at?
I'd have to ask Mr. Betts again.
Okay, I think that's.
I can't recall it right off the top of my head.
I think we're attempting to keep that around 12% of our budget, and I just want us to be sure that we stay within kind of that general rule. I don't know as a council we've ever decided what the actual percentage-wise is the best, but I'd be interested.
Yep. Currently, we're sitting at about 16.5%. I can get you the exact number. I'd have to look it up here. But we're sitting at about 16.5%, and the 200,000 would still probably keep us in the 16% area there. So.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. Good question. Any other questions for our staff tonight? Okay, moving on. First reading of 2014-18, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 5, Animals of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, by the addition of a new subsection pertaining to exotic animals.
And tonight we'll call on new dad, Jeremy Cover.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a section that would amend the code to regulate exotic animals. It was presented by the Animal Shelter group, the section, and also unanimously approved by the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee. And the idea is that from a public safety standpoint, the city should be aware of what kind of exotic animals are here inside the city limits. It's defined, and the exotic animal is defined in that section, and that was something we worked through with the Animal Shelter Advisory Committee, who are all veterinarians, in order to get that to where they thought it should be, and that's what it is. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for our law department tonight? All right. Thank you, Jeremy, for that report. Next, we'll have first reading of 2014-19, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 5, Animals of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, pertaining to maximum number of animals.
Jeremy, you're up again, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is Animal 2 of 2. So this would amend the code relating to the maximum number of animals. Currently, there are a maximum of 6 animals allowed. Any more than that, you have to get a permit for that. This wouldn't change the number. However, it would extend the area beyond the dwelling to the entire property. So currently, you're allowed to have those in the house, but anything in the yard wouldn't be regulated. This would extend that to the entire property line. This was actually brought about by complaints from citizens who would call and complain to animal control about lots of animals at a property. They would show up and they would be either in the yard, or they would say they were in the, that they stayed outside, and therefore this section didn't apply to them. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for our law department? All right, thank you, sir. Moving on, we'll have first reading of 2014-20, please.
An ordinance amending Chapter 8, Building and Building Regulations, and Chapter 21, Nuisances of the Code of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, pertaining to insurance proceeds.
Janice McMillan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This ordinance amends the city code so that 25% of any insurance proceeds would be retained by the city when a privately owned building is substantially destroyed. That ensures proper remediation. It uses the insurance funds to do that, and as opposed to city funds.
Any questions for Janice this evening on number 20? Mr. Scrivener.
Janice, on the, I know that the city has issues now when there's a building maybe that's substantially destroyed, and we ask the homeowner to remediate the issue, and they say they haven't settled with the insurance company yet, or they haven't got their funding from the insurance company. Would this ordinance require the insurance company to pay the city on or to deposit with the city 25% on a more timely basis, or would we have the same issue in terms of timeliness?
Well, I think one of the ways that we can assist with that is to notify the local insurance carriers that we do have this ordinance, and so I do intend to do that once this is passed, to make the insurance companies aware that we have this provision.
But I guess what I'm asking, and maybe I should be asking our city attorney instead, and if you know the answer to this, you're welcome to answer it, but you know, if the insurance company is not paying any proceeds at all for a period of time, if we don't get the 25% any more quickly than the homeowner gets the 25%, we could still be several months in the process of getting these properties remediated. So will this ordinance, or can this ordinance be written in such a way that at the time of a loss, that, I mean, the insurance company, it could be determined pretty quickly, I would think, that 25% is going to be due somebody, and due somebody right away, and there wouldn't have to be a huge delay in making that payment and making that deposit to the city. So I just wonder, will it be any more timely with this ordinance than it has been in the past when we're waiting for the homeowner to do that negotiating?
To answer your question, I mean, no, it wouldn't be any more timely in terms of the ordinance doesn't force a timeline on the insurance company that they didn't have before. So the only thing that may speed it up is that because the insurance company knows that we have this ordinance and we're waiting on it, that they might move the ball a little quicker otherwise. But other than that, this doesn't force them. It's still a private contract between the homeowner and the insurance company. We're just intercepting that once it's finally there. It doesn't force them. They still have to do their due diligence to make sure that that as far as investigations and the processing their claim and that sort of thing. So it's not going to force them to do anything any quicker, but it may allow them to do it quicker if they know that we're waiting for part of it in order to clean up the site.
And we do have, apparently, if we're putting forth this ordinance, there's not going to be any problem with us having the authority to intercept that money?
No, sir. This is what would give us that authority.
Okay.
Any other questions on 2014-20? Mr. Bragg.
You use the word intercept funds from the insurance company to the property owner. Can the city actually intercept, or does the property owner have to get the funds and then the property owner would pay the city?
No, the funds would actually come directly from the insurance company. That portion of it to the city, yes. So, yeah, and this is something that has been we've talked about for a long time, and it would, if as the ordinance is written, if the property is cleaned up before it gets to that point or in a timely manner, then it goes straight back to the property owner anyway. This is just for those situations where that doesn't happen, and unfortunately that is the case sometimes where it doesn't get cleaned up like it should. And this is, one thing we can do to try to solve that situation.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions on 14-20? Okay, moving on, we'll go into bills pending now. This is where we have our third reading. We'll have third reading of 2014-6, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Jefferson Asphalt Company for the 2014 Mill and Overlay Project.
Mr. Marash.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. clerk indicated, this is our citywide overlay. The contract's with Jefferson Asphalt. The price tag on it is $1,170,246. The list of overlay streets are in your packet, and they were previewed by the Public Works and Planning Committee, and staff would recommend approval of the contract.
Any questions of staff on 2014-6? Any debate by council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Costales?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
Schulte?
Aye.
Scrivener?
Aye.
Branch?
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have third reading on 2014-7.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Jefferson Asphalt Company for the 2014 chip and seal project.
Mr. Marash.
Thank you. As clerk indicated, another contract, companion to the first one. It's for chip seal instead of overlay. It's the same company, Jefferson Asphalt. There are basically, I think, 3 streets in this chip seal contract in the city, kind of lower volume streets. And the price tag is $42,872. And staff would recommend approval.
Any questions on 2014-7? Debate by council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Graham?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
Schulte?
Aye.
Scrivener?
Aye.
Branch?
Aye.
Bray?
Aye.
Costales?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have third reading of 2014-8, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with JC Industries Incorporated for the Lafayette and Dunklin Intersection Improvements Project.
Mr. Marash.
Thank you. As the clerk indicated, another construction contract, this one from JCI or Jeff City Industries. Basically, somewhat of a companion project to the Lafayette interchange as well. It's a city-county funded project. It also includes some major sewer work through the area. The project would basically install a new signal at Dunklin and Lafayette and reconstruct that intersection and move the utilities about in that area. It will require a road closure, so we're trying to get out ahead of the interchange project. The road is scheduled to be eligible to be closed after June 2nd, on June 2nd. Part of the traffic flow would turn Chestnut in a two-way fashion through the construction season. That intersection has to be opened up by August 15th so that school traffic can get about town. And the actual contract probably wouldn't end more till end of mid-September, but the intersection would need to be open. The cost of it on the roadway portion that the city and county would split is $394,041. And then the wastewater portion of it's $299,624. Happy to answer any question. We'd recommend approval.
Any questions on 2014-8 of staff? Any council debate? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Henry?
Aye.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
Schulte?
Aye.
Scrivener?
Aye.
Branch?
Aye.
Bray?
Aye.
Costales?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have third reading of 2014-9, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending Chapter 26A, Purchasing, and Chapter 2, Administration, Article 4, Division 1, City Administrator, Section 307, Powers of the Code of the City of Jefferson, by revising the purchasing procedures.
Jeremy's going to fill in tonight for Mr. Hilbert. Jeremy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you've heard before, this was a comprehensive rewrite of the city's purchasing rules. It spent several months at the staff level, then several months at the Finance Committee before it was introduced, and then has since also been taken to the Administration Committee so that all of the council people could have a time to work through it and try to get your questions answered. At this point, I believe most of you have seen it pretty thoroughly, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you have now.
Okay, I'm taking the chair in the absence of the mayor. Are there any questions for Mr. Culver? Okay, then roll call, please.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
Schulte?
Aye.
Scrivener?
Aye.
Branch?
Aye.
Bray?
Aye.
Costales?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye. Aye.
And the bill passes. Got to find my place here. 2014-10, 10, third reading, please.
An ordinance amending Section 19401, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule J, Parking Prohibited, Subparagraph A of the Code of the City of Jefferson pertaining to a portion of Williams Street.
Mr. Marash.
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this is amending our traffic code to include some no parking area. It basically is on William Street, but it runs from St. Mary's to Blair. It's just an area off Dix Road. The request is from the neighborhood or from property owners in the area. It's a commercial area, kind of a mixed use. There's some apartment buildings as well in the area. Went through the Transportation and Traffic Commission to notify the adjoining property owners, and we had no opposition, and staff would recommend approval.
Are there any questions for Mr. Marash? Any debate? Roll call, please.
Schulte?
Aye.
Scrivener?
Aye.
Branch?
Aye.
Bray?
Aye.
Costales?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
And the bill passes. 2014-11, third reading, please.
An ordinance amending Section 19401, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Schedule J, Parking Prohibited, Subparagraph A of the Code of the City of Jefferson pertaining to a portion of Cedar Ridge.
Mr. Marash.
Thank you. As clerk indicated, this would be prohibiting parking on a Cedar Ridge. At the intersection with Southwest Boulevard, there's already 65 feet of it is prohibited from parking. It's a neighborhood request. They felt there needed to be a little additional distance so they could see better, make better turning movements. There's actually a accounting firm on the corner in an older residential style home. But the area was notified. We didn't receive any opposition to the request, and Transportation and Traffic recommended to the council. We recommend approval.
Any questions for Mr. Marash? I'll turn the chair back over to the mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Scrivener. Appreciate that. Any debate on 2014-11? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Scrivener?
Aye.
Branch?
Aye.
Bray?
Aye.
Costales?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have third reading of 2014-12.
I forgot Mr. Schulte. We've taken up this one earlier.
Oh, you did? Okay. My bad. 2014-13, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Arcturus for wayfinding plan development.
Ms. McMillan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This bill would authorize a professional services agreement with the firm of Arcturus to develop a wayfinding plan for the capital area, urbanized area. And this is included in the capital area MPO budget for this year and also for next year's budget. Total amount of the contract is a not-to-exceed contract of $41,500. Will be paid and implemented in 2 phases.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. McMillan on number 13? Mr. Graham.
So this is the wayfinding signs that we've been talking about to get into, like downtown and high school and all that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The first phase will identify neighborhoods and districts.
Right.
And then the second phase will be more of the implementation plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. McMillan on 13? Seeing none, any council debate? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Branch?
Aye.
Bray?
Aye.
Costales?
Aye.
Graham?
Aye.
Henry?
Aye.
Mahalovich?
Aye.
Schulte?
Aye.
Scrivener?
Aye.
At this point in time, we will move into, motion passes. Next, we'll move into resolutions. At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2014-6.
So move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. At this point in time, I'd ask the clerk to give us a brief description, please.
A resolution authorizing the City of Jefferson to apply for the State of Missouri Public Transit Operating Assistance Grant.
Okay, Mr. Marash.
Yeah, as clerk indicated, this is just part of our grant procedures. We now request the council approve us applying for grants. There's no match to this grant. It's for our transit operating through MoDOT, and it's just our grant application. We anticipate it being approved, so there'll be eventually be a follow-up grant agreement that comes to the council.
Okay, any other questions of Matt by the council members? Seeing none, any more debate? Seeing none, at this point in time, I feel you're ready to vote. Roll call, please.
Bray.
Aye.
Costello.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Mahalovich. Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll entertain a motion to accept Resolution 2014-7.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. At this point in time, I'd ask the clerk to please give us a brief description.
A resolution authorizing the release of the letter of credit for the St. Mary's construction project.
Mr. Marash.
Thank you. This is one of our last things to do on our St. Mary's Interchange project on Mission Drive. Back when that agreement was put together, the city and county agreed to that they would fund a letter of credit to give us basically some insurance that the hospital would be completed and actually gain the new jobs that were put in the application. Obviously, that's well on its way to completion and scheduled to be ahead of a little bit ahead of early. So the city and county would both have to agree to terminate this agreement. So this is our proof that our council would go along with that. It does cost us about $10,000 a month to keep this on the books. So we'd recommend approval, and I believe the county's recommending the same thing.
Okay. Any other questions for 2014-7 of Matt from the council? Bob.
Just a quick comment. I believe the county commission has already voted to terminate, so our action will just complete their action in effect.
Okay. Any other comments or questions or debate? Seeing none, I feel you're ready to vote. Roll call, please.
Costello.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Motion passes. Nothing under 15 this evening. Is there anything under 16 from the council or staff? Mr. Scrivener.
I just don't want to let my good friend Councilman Schulte leave without at least saying something nice about him. So I'm going to take this opportunity to just say, Sean, I've really appreciated your contribution to the council. I think you've been an outstanding council member. I know I've relied on you frequently to discuss issues and get your opinion of things. It's not often, I would just say it's been very, very seldom that we haven't agreed on things, and when we have not agreed on something, it's been a pleasant experience anyway. So I think you've been a great councilman. I've enjoyed serving with you.
Anyone else? Mr. Graham.
Councilman Schulte, I certainly want to echo those words, and I want to say that truly it's been a pleasure working with you. Certainly want to miss you. I know we worked together on the finance. Certainly, you've done wonders to that with the committee. I just want to say thank you for all of your hard work, and I look forward to you being certainly involved in the community as a continuation. Thank you.
Mr. Bray.
All I can say is whoever comes in behind you is going to have some big shoes to fill.
Mr. Mahalovich.
I echo everybody's comments and thank my colleague in the second ward for his service to the citizens in that area. Outstanding job on the as chair of the finance and a good partner in terms of listening and echoing and giving thoughts, and I very much appreciate that counsel, and wish you the very best, and I look forward to maybe one of these days having you back on the council.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to say that Sean's probably been one of the best sounding boards and mentors I've had on the council. I'm going to miss him, and glad to have you on the East End.
Anyone else? All right. Sean, once again, on behalf of all the council, on behalf of your ward, thanks for your years of devotion and dedication. There again, you know, we went through some tougher times, obviously in 13 with our budget and some budget shortfalls and whatnot. You obviously played a huge role in helping myself through that. It was a very trying time as a mayor, but also our city and your ward through that. And I know you worked very diligently towards the conference center, which obviously you still know is something will come of that as time comes up. However, I do have something that you can get through the goalpost as soon as you can, and since you're going to be on the Parks Commission, how about a multi-purpose building? So, but yeah, do you have anything else to add in as we exit, Sean? All right. Before we do that, we will first entertain a motion to approve our closed session minutes from May 5th. Business first. It's been moved and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. I'm being told we have to do roll call. Roll call, please, on the minutes of May 5th.
Branch.
Aye.
Bray.
Aye.
Costalis.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye. Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh. I think I got an extra one there. Mr. Costalis, did you have a question?
No, I want to make one statement here. Late evening. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to go out to Lincoln and watch the Guns and Hoses football game. I want to say thanks to all the Lincoln folks that were involved, from the coaches to the gear guys that are doing the uniforms after the game, and made it really great. And I know in that same aspect, hiring personnel takes a long time. Chief Turner, Chief Schrader, and Gail, you guys don't have to worry about a mass exodus to the NFL anytime soon. So,
all right. Thank you, Glenn, for those kind words. Any other points of business? If not, I'm going to call on Mr. Schulte for a move to adjourn in a second. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Sean, congratulations and good luck. We'll keep your seat.